In this video, we're going to teach you 7 philosophies that are going to change the way that you sell and market for your business. You got some?
No. Welcome into another episode, everyone. I'm Rob.
And I'm Ruben.
Cheers.
Cheers.
The reason we're sitting down today is we're going to get all philosophical on you sales leaders out there.
We decided to really do a deep dive on philosophy and go to the east, go to the west, go back thousands of years and figure out different philosophies that A, you can learn about, but B, you can apply to being a sales leader. So if you're in sales, if you're in marketing, you really want to watch this video because it's going to help you to use some philosophical methods to close, to drive more sales and more growth for your business.
Now, we're going to start with the Socratic Method. Who's the creator of the Socratic Method?
Well, that would be Socrates, and we've all heard the Socratic Method, and it's all about getting to yes. According to textbook here, the Socratic Method is a form of cooperative argumentative dialogue between individuals based on asking and answering questions to stimulate official thinking and to draw out ideas and underlying presuppositions.
Underlying presuppositions. That's the biggest part of that definition that we're going to hit on right now when you relate it back to sales.
So here's my example of the Socratic Method. My goal is to get him to say yes on every question that I answer.
All right, go.
Rob, do you like chocolate?
Yes.
Rob, do you like coffee?
Yes.
Rob, do you like trying new things?
Yes.
Rob, would you like to try a mochaccino at Starbucks?
Yes, you just combined 2 of my yeses into a bigger yes. So
Great.
Yes. Why yes?
Will you buy me a cup of coffee if we go to Starbucks?
Well, I didn't say it was front the transaction, but it's okay, maybe. Yeah, okay. Yes.
That's my easiest example of the Socratic Method. It's trying to get the person to say yes. It's not being manipulative.
No.
It's not trying to take advantage of someone. It's just trying to find a confirmation. So speak to that.
It's about getting the yes ball rolling, which you just literally saw in action with Ruben. But
The yes ball rolling. I love that. I can literally picture that.
Yeah.
It's just a rolling snowball of yeses.
Right, and when you have a snowball rolling, good luck stopping it. So, and this is a good snowball, actually, for both sides, because you're educating the person and they're probably going to say yes with, because they're going to eventually be like, oh my God, you're showing me the light on something like this. But confirmation equals affirmation with this. And that's one of the most important things. You're bringing that underlying supposition that we talked about, that they subconsciously might not even be aware of, that's better for them, and then you're presenting it back to them, which is the affirmation.
So if you're selling, let's say, advertising agency services, you might drive the person to continue to say yes. Yes, I want to get more warm leads. Yes, I want to get more conversions. Yes, I'd like to make my advertising and marketing more scalable. As a solution provider, you can get the person to confirm all of the struggles that they have. And then after doing so, you get them to affirm that you are the right person for them to choose. And that's the Socratic Method as applied to sales.
All right, so we're going to cover Stoicism, the Stoicism method of selling. So I'm going to read everyone the definition of Stoicism. So Stoicism, Ruben, is defined as the enduring pleasure or pain without showing emotion. When you neither react when you get burned badly, nor react when you win the lottery. This is an example of Stoicism. So I don't think I could perform Stoicism if I was A, getting burned, or winning the lottery, or if both were happening at the same time. Maybe I heard the winning lottery numbers while I'm cooking on the stove. There would be a reaction. But we're going to dive into this.
Stoicism is like being a statue, so that's extremism.
It says right here, Ruben, Stoicism.
I choose to not believe in that definition of Stoicism. I've sort of created my own definition of it because I still want to be a human being. Here's my take on it, which is it's about being disciplined within yourself. It's about being an observer of things, not being a reactor. And it's about living within virtue. And I think the most important thing, which they talked about, is actually being empathetic of people that are not stoic, that are not disciplined, that don't live in virtue, that actually don't have structure to their lives. So I think the idea here for me is this idea of you can be a human, but at the same time you can be an observer and someone that doesn't react and doesn't get overtaken by emotions.
And think about that in the sales process. One of the biggest things you always hear about for years is listening, right? Well, listening is a form of observing. So when you really take that to heart and you make that one of the cornerstones of your sales interaction, then you will be present, you will be mindful, and you'll have a much better outcome by doing that.
Nice. If you want to search more about Stoicism, search for Marcus Aurelius, Search for Cato. There's some great quotes out there. Unbelievable stuff. Like one of my favorite quotes is, it's hard to be disciplined. It's even harder to be empathetic of people that are not disciplined.
Ruben, this is one of your favorite ones, the next one, and it has to do a lot with the way, and here is the definition.
Okay.
Even though you know it by heart, I have it right here for you.
All right, so just to stay consistent here, here's textbook definition of Taoism, spelled Taoism or Taoism, but definitely pronounced Taoism. A Chinese philosophy based on the writings of Lao Tzu, 6th century BC, advocating humility and religious piety. So, we've heard the way, right? In Star Wars, may the Force be with you, right? We've heard ideas of what the way is, and this is the order of all things, the path of all things. These are things that are existing out there when it comes to humanity, when it comes to nature, when it comes to the overall cosmos. And there's some really interesting principles from Taoism. I mean, one of them we all know because we've seen it on a tattoo, because we all considered getting this tattoo in college, which is yin and yang.
It's the balance of things.
Yeah.
Like when you go into a sales situation, you've got to realize the landscape, and the landscape is always filled with balance. The up, the down, the yin, the yang, the good, the bad, the light, the dark. In every sales pipeline or interaction you're going to have, you've got to recognize that landscape first. And once you recognize it and know where things are, then you can navigate it in a smart way.
Well, I think what's really interesting about this is that without darkness, there would be no light. If you think about the balance of things, you have to understand that not everything in your sales and marketing is going to be hunky-dory. You're going to have peaks and valleys. You're going to have challenging times. You're going to have times where things are not going well. You're going to have recessions. Without recessions, there would not be hypergrowth. So it's really important to understand that in the Tao, all things are effectively balanced. And if they're not balanced, we need to seek balance. I think the second idea is this idea of adapting. Like Bruce Lee says, be like water, which means if water is in a pot, it becomes the pot. If water is in a cup, it becomes the pot. Water can flow, water can crash, it adapts. This is a great premise from Taoism. This just teaches us to adapt to our surroundings.
And remember, like we opened with this philosophy here, the way. Think about the way for a second. What is the sales way? The sales way is you must present something to someone. You must lead with value. You must eventually ask a buying question. That is the way. All right, we're going to get a little psychoanalytic on everybody right now. So
Psychoanalytical is the word, I believe.
Hey, who brought Professor Know-It-All over here? Huh? Who brought the English professor? Okay.
Professor Freud.
Get on your couches, take a 45-degree angle, whatever you want to do, get your feet up, okay? Because this psychoanalysis theory of selling is going to be the following.
And this, of course, this was inspired by the father of psychoanalysis, Dr. Sigmund Freud himself.
All right, so we're going to talk about the psychoanalysis method here. And the easiest, simplest way to define this is you've got three different parts. You've got the id, you've got the ego, and you've got the superego. The id is the instincts. The ego is the reality. And the superego is the morality. So those are the three breakdowns. What do you got for the first one? What do you got for the id?
Well, I think the id is our primordial instinct. If it feels good, do it, which just means I don't care if you're in sales. I don't care about who the person is, what problem they're trying to solve. All I want to do is to get the money so I can go buy a toy. It's very shallow. The second is the ego, right? Which is, everything is me-centric, and it's a little bit more articulate, but it basically means that, I have these goals, I want to accomplish these goals, and I'm going to create something. And then I think the superego
is the morality. You want to move towards the moral high ground of what, getting this accomplished task is done. So in the sales pipeline, the sales conversations, in the sales analysis part of this, the superego is like the overlooker of, okay, let's make sure that what we're doing here in the sales process for this prospect is for his goals as well. Not just our commission, not just bettering our bottom line. It's about really improving that prospect's life and making a difference with the value that you are offering. So it's like a super check in a way to make sure we're on the right path.
I think this superego is about creating a strategy so that you can attain certain things. The takeaway here with psychoanalysis is to understand that a big part of who we are as human beings is our ego. And that drives our carnal desires to attain things and to do things that make us feel good. And I think to transcend this, I think it really comes down to mindfulness, and it understands that this is not about fulfilling our egos. Being a successful sales leader is never going to be rooted in how they can attain and how they can achieve something to serve their ego. It's always going to be about helping others. It goes back to the definition of power. Power is the removal of obstacles, but the only way to attain power is to remove obstacles for others.
And remember, it's not about the good. It's about the greater good. All right, everyone's favorite method coming up, nihilism.
This is everyone's favorite method.
Yeah, everyone loves nihilism.
We just got just like rows of people saying, "I want the nihilistic method of sales."
I'll take the nihilism order on 3. I'll take it. Supersize it, please. Okay, there we go. All right, all you nihilists out there. Okay, I'm going to give you the definition here. Ready?
All one of you.
Yeah, all you wannabe nihilists as well. All right, ready? It is the rejection of all religious and moral principles in the belief that life is what, Ruben? It is
meaningless.
You got it.
So nihilism is so funny to me because it's ultimately rooted in skepticism and in the idea that there's no belief system, that in fact life has no meaning. So it's a very pessimistic, very negative look at life, but there's actually a way to get liberated from it. But what's interesting about this is that if you try to create your own order, and if you try to find your own meaning and your own value system, that you can actually rise up beyond uncertainty. So, there's this idea of rising tides raises all boats. If we take the virtue of simply that our goal is to help others, and that's the meaning of life, if we look at life and say the meaning of life is to help others, that's how, in my opinion, we can overcome skepticism about larger questions like, why are we here?
And one of the bigger takeaways, too, is one of the hallmarks of nihilism is the impulse to destroy. Now, how that relates to the sales communication and sales process, sales leaders out there, sales professionals, is destroying can be going for that close, going for the kill right out of the gate, reading that script, not listening to the other person, only having your goal in mind, which is, you know what, I'm going to ram this script down someone's throat, and I'm not even going to let them respond because all I care about is getting to the quickest close possible so I can get on to the next person. You're literally destroying. That's like the definition of destroying. Yeah. So in relation to the sales process, you have to flip that on its head. You're not closing a relationship, you're opening a relationship. And that means you take the time, you listen, you pause, you think, you react. We talk about this stuff all the time with Dubb. That's what it's about. You are breathing life into the sales process rather than choking it out and destroying it. That is a big difference.
There's another philosophy, which is absurdism. So the definition is, absurdism is a philosophy, refers to the fundamental nature of conflict in the human tendency to find meaning and inherent value in life and inability in the same in a purposeless existence in an irrational universe.
Irrational universe.
What's interesting about absurdism is that everything is irrational and meaningless, and that the very search for order will just ultimately bring us conflict. Now, the reason why this applies to sales is because how many salespeople do you know that are constantly searching for the method, the process, the technique? They're spending money, they're hiring sales coaches, they're reading books, and they're constantly going through this evolution of trying to find that secret silver bullet.
When you know what the answer is, it's right inside of you. It's you, it's authenticity, it's virtue. Those are the answers to that. When you're searching around lost in the woods, what you're looking for was sitting back at home. It's yourself. There's no one system that you're going to turn into where you saw some other salesperson doing a presentation. Oh, I want to sound like them. I want to have their exact cadence. No. That's mimicry. And that's getting lost in that universe of chaos and meaninglessness. This is about you. When you find authenticity and virtue, you find meaning, which goes right against being absurd.
The next one is existentialism, a philosophical theory or approach which emphasizes the existence of the individual person as a free and responsible agent determining their own development through the acts of the will. I really connect to existentialism when it comes to sales because it's about our will and how we actually create our destiny. We create our output. Now, I think so many people in sales can relate to that because people in sales generally are self-starters. They're self-motivated and they have a goal-attaining personality type. Now, it's important that our actions can determine our outcome in sales.
If you've got a great output, you're on the right path. Again, you need to make sure that you're using the correct conduit, which is yourself.
So the existence in existentialism, and it's all rooted in your actions.
If you love this comment, you know what to do. We'd like you to like it. We'd like you to leave a comment. Throw a Dubb video in the section below. We love when people use Dubb videos to leave their comments down there. And please, we really love it if you would
subscribe to this channel.
That'd be great.
And also put your favorite philosopher in the comments, and we promise to respond to all comments. Thank you guys so much, and see you at the next episode of Rev Show.
Bye, everybody. And that's a wrap. Okay, there we go. That will be probably the outtake.
You know what's so funny is this one, both times it stopped automatically.
Oh, it didn't?
Yeah.
The 10-minute thing, right?
think
But
so.
was it 10 minutes?
Maybe less. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
gotta be less. I don't think it's 10 minutes. It must be like
Yeah,
5
I mean
minutes.
this is old. This is an old camera, man. This is a really
This is
old
so
camera.
closet office.